Thanks very much. Again, there's a whole lot to be said about these two questions. First, and very briefly, what do we have to base our analysis of scholarly reading on? So first, there is something that one of my two supervisors has worked extensively on, and in a very helpful way, I think, namely prescriptive accounts on how one should read that were published so very frequently, especially in the 17th century. Frequently by Jesuit authors, where it seems especially anxious that people should read in the right ways, but also by some others. That's one corpus of sources, and the other one that I found very useful and helpful is what remnants of scholarly reading, say, underlining in print books that we still have, marginal annotations, and also notebooks, of course, notes that were kept by a scholar like Altovandi. So I've worked also in my postdoc period at Columbia, for instance, on Altovandi's Pandecton Epistemonicon, which is an 83-volume notebook, about which he claims that it contains everything ever written on anything by anyone. So I think that's an impressive monument of his reading practices, and also of how he apparently aspired, or what he wanted his reading to achieve, namely to collect everything that we know. So this, very briefly, on your first question, Pat. Secondly, academies, I've only very briefly, of course, mentioned the Accademia Naturae Curiosorum. What was very helpful for me also was Adrian Jones's work on the Royal Society. So, for instance, in a wonderful article, he showed that the way in which the academies of the Royal Society registered texts was very similar to the way in which it registered experiments. They were entered into books in a fairly similar way, and discussed also, it seems, at times at least, in similar ways. Apart from that, if we think about collectivity in reading or writing at the time, I think we should also not leave the amanuenses unmentioned. So Altovandi's reading practices, obviously, I've mentioned this 83-volume notebook. That wasn't possible without many elements. We know in his case that he had 3 amanuenses who helped him bringing that up. We see the handwritings in the notebook. We also know that his second wife helped him with manuscripts of this sort. So there again, you have collectivity prior to scientific academies. And also, you might remember that little slide or the image of an insect on one of my slides, an image that I've pasted into a different one of his notebooks, his Observationes. That's an image that was sent to him by a colleague. And of course, one might also think of collectivity in terms of correspondence at the time, if that answers at least partially.
We have time for a brief question and one brief response, and then we must move on.
My question may be a non-specialist question. About the monster books, who are the readers? What kind of writing contemporary would you like to compare with? You know, also in ancient China, in 2,000 years ago, we have this very similar Shanghai Jing, for example, but that kind of monster books. So who are the readers of the time?
Yeah, thanks very much. So I've shown 2 different sort of title pages of 2 examples that I said are quite different, at least at first sight. One of them aimed at a broader, however, learned audience, say post physicians and the like, and the other one was possibly read more amongst university professors, etc. But that's not all. Many books also aimed at a still far wider audience. They were written in the vernacular, and with their many images also, I think they allude to a wide audience that consumes these monsters with relish.
Well, I think we're going to have conversations with these young scholars over the next few years, and I would like to hope that we'll be doing that in the lobby. Thank you very much.